Welcome to the Orient Sportscast Podcast, the most refreshing analysis, insight, and opinions in the world of sports. Here are your hosts, Josh Egan and Brandon Waterhouse.
All right, welcome back to the Orient Sports Podcast. We are fired up. We are ready. There is so much to get to today. We've got NBA trade deadline, NFL games, Masters champion. There's actually some news coming out of the NHL today. We even got some F1 talk for all you race fans. So we're going to get right to it. Brandon, what is coming out
Here
of
we go. Yeah, man, I'm excited for tonight's podcast for sure. How was your day, though, other than let's ignore the news? You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. You know what? We're back in we're in Ontario, so GT area. We're back in Code
A lot
Red.
to not be happy for, that's for sure.
Yeah, but you know what? We're making it work at work, and we're just going to keep going here. I do want to send a shout out, though. We are joined by Nick Kiprios in studio.
Shout out.
He's
Nick,
just as
in
he
the
thinks, just as he usually thinks he is, higher than everybody else. So that's where he's going to
Yeah.
stay.
PG 13% now from the line, from the field goals. Paul George, he's absolute. It's fitting he's wearing the orange because he's a pylon. But back to a different point. Let's roll on to the NBA as we're talking about CP. Okay, we're not talking about CP3 right now, but we're talking about Oklahoma City, which is the team that picture of Paul George was in. And Oklahoma City was broken in the news this week. The first deal, first thing in the morning, really, first minute of trade deadline opening. Chris Paul to the Phoenix Suns for Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, maybe another player, and a first round or second round pick for compensation. People say it's a lot. What do you have to say?
I saw the name Chris Paul, and I was like, wow, this must be a big trade. It kind of, I think the NBA trade deadline took a while to kind of get going.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think part of that had to do with, I think the owners were given, 48 to 36 hours notice of the trade freeze being lifted. Like, they didn't quite know when it's not even
and it's
really
all new this year too, so it's completely it's really throwing a lot of people off guard, especially the fans, because we're the ones receiving the news at odd times, honestly.
Right, and we also received news today that all NBA players need to report to their home market by November 30th, which is going to cause a lot more movement in the NBA. And you know what? I'll put it straight up. As a podcast, as fans, we want that content. So if there's more movement in that league, that's what I want to see. But from the owner's perspective, I don't think they were given much notice about. And people are calling it a trade line, but I don't think it's really a trade deadline. It was just they lifted the trade freeze because of the pandemic. They didn't want player movement, and they wanted their families to feel secure and safe. So they just lifted the trade freeze. So now players were allowed to be moved around because the NBA kind of has a more set schedule with that December 22nd tip-off date.
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with the quick turnaround, because the training can start in less than a month, and those people have to find their homes, find a family, find a school for their children, and set up more than a basketball situation in that neighborhood. And there's still so much more to talk about. We're talking about stuff that hasn't even happened, but stuff that has happened is that Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks have been trying to amp up a little bit more of a veteran presence with some more experienced shooters, as Bogdan Bogdanovic from the Sacramento Kings has been acquired by the Bucks, as well as Drew Holiday has been acquired by the Bucks. They gave up a couple players of notice, Ersan Ilyasova, and another young and upcoming player. I think I'll have to check. But the Bucks were giving up on a couple of their young prospects, which is fair because Giannis is going into free agency in 1 year. So if you throw that out, you're throwing away any chance of keeping the rest of your franchise for 5 years relevant.
Yeah, but, I think the Bucks, they know, the strategy they're going with here is they know that it's a real chance that Giannis might leave. So they're loading up this year and they're saying, we got to win. We got to show this guy that we are trying our best to keep him and to make this a relevant winning franchise. And I don't think they're very far off. Like, they're one of the stronger teams in that conference. And
I mumbled over my words. Sorry to interrupt you. They are definitely the dominant team, but they had a struggle in the playoffs this year. But those key players were Dante DiVincenzo, Eric Bledsoe, and George Hill, who have all equal respectable careers behind them.
Yeah.
And Drew Holiday is a known lockdown defender, and he can put the buckets into the hoop. But it's a matter of his winning experience coming from a losing team in the Pelicans. And like you said, the Bucks are going all out because they know Giannis has the opportunity to leave if they don't have a team that competes.
Right. And I think the chances of him leaving are pretty high because movement in the NBA is very common. Teams don't tend to stick around quite a bit. I think you addressed this last episode where we were talking about Russell Westbrook. Just kind of, they treat the teams kind of like dates, like just swipe left, swipe left, swipe left. So I don't expect any different just because, and he's also not in like the most ideal location. Like if you could go to, you got like New York, you got LA, you got, all these places in the States. I'll put Toronto in there as a city, and you want to play in Milwaukee. There's other places you could go. And you got something here, and I think this is a pretty good transition. There's a big player in the NBA who has been linked to Toronto, and that's James Harden. I haven't seen any official reports, but I've seen a couple people suggest that it might be his best player.
Right. And so I guess the authenticity of these reports is that it's coming from Channing Frye. Right. And Channing Frye is he's an NBA champion with LeBron James and the Cavaliers, as long as now he's like an analyst on ESPN, I believe, or some sort of basketball show. So he is in some sort of know. That's what you are when you're in that position. He has a little bit of interest, and he has a strong opinion as well. Right. And not only was his maybe insiders was necessarily there, but his opinion was that if James Harden was looking to win now, that Toronto would be his designated option, or desired option rather. But that was huge stretch, and especially for a lot of my friends who are Raptors fans, they were going off about the chemistry that it would throw into it. It would kind of make it like Raptors were more than they're more of a make a big flashy move than what they're usually known for, which is sticking to growing their team throughout history and throughout the term of 5 or so years, instead of going for make or break moves. Especially after what happened with Kawhi, you go for a make or break move and then he doesn't re-sign. You go here for one of the richest players. He turned down the richest deal ever to be imagined, which was a $103 million for 2 years for James Harden. 50 million odd, just over 50 million a year would be the most record-breaking amount of money an NBA player would make in 1 year. James Harden turned it down, not necessarily to focus on a trade to Toronto, but he's been really interested in what this idea is to go to a trade in Brooklyn.
Right. And first off, I think it's absolutely like insane in my mind that somebody has turned down $100 million over 2 years. Like that amount of money is just unfathomable. And I think I thought about it because I was speaking to you yesterday, and I believe my words were like, it's stupid he didn't take that deal. Like $50 million a year for a sports contract to play a sport that you love. And I thought about it, and I think it just goes to show this guy's drive to win, right? Like he wants a ring. He wants a championship. He wants his name to be remembered. He doesn't just want to be great. He wants to be remembered as an NBA champion, and he's going to do what he needs to do that. So, and just to go back to the Harden to Toronto thing, we're not saying that he's coming to Toronto. We are saying that someone reported that it would be the best fit for him because of their culture and because of the team they already have, and he would slot in best for that team. It looks like he's going to Brooklyn, but again, it's kind of a weird dynamic because I believe he has 2 years left on his contract, and he's just pretty much going up to the Houston head office and saying, hey, I want out, like, trade me, and these are the 2 teams you're allowed to trade me to. When in reality, Houston could just turn around and say, no, actually, you're going to Minnesota, or no, you're going to the Knicks, right? Because he wants that. If he wants out, like it's very, the NBA is so weird, man. Like the stars control the league in a way where they're telling the owners where they want to go and what they want to do, and it's such an odd dynamic that it's allowed to happen. But if Harden says he wants out and he wants to go to Brooklyn or he wants to go to wherever he wants to go to, I don't see why it wouldn't happen, but it looks like it's got to be done by November 30th.
Yeah, so it's coming down to the wire definitely because December is right around the corner. And Russ is a part of the reason that Houston would have any relevancy in competition next year. And he's already been linked to, before James Harden, well before James Harden, many deals, imaginary trades, situations where people believe Russell Westbrook is going to Charlotte. People believe that Michael Jordan has a little bit of an in because Russell Westbrook is a Jordan brand athlete, and Michael Jordan owns part of the Charlotte Hornets. That would be a situation where like Russell Westbrook has the ball in his hands a lot. Hopefully, he has some shooters that are kind of motivated to be shooting with all-star MVP caliber point guard coming down with speed and experience. That could be something. I think anywhere he goes is a situation for that team, and a big deal for that team. The whole thing that comes down with this is that it's Houston's problem for not having a team that's ready to compete, or a system that was ready to win. And I mean, that system was shooting threes, not taking anything hard to the hoop. And now that coach is gone and the GM is gone, and the players who have been there for a long time have a lot of doubt. And so that's not going to hinder any reason for return of your superstars, I guess.
Right. And it's just, I heard it best today on the radio. They're a perennial contender, but they never do any damage. I think the closest they came was they have Golden State's on the wire in like a game 7 or something. They were in game 7 with the Warriors, and the Warriors had like a comeback against them or whatever. And that's the closest they've come to an NBA final. And it might be Houston's time is up, and it's just not going to be what it is. And if Harden's coming to Brooklyn or one of these teams near Toronto, it's not good news for the Raptors. And especially because they have not re-signed Fred VanVleet yet. Where do they stand on that? What's the news with Fred VanVleet? Do we have any update, or is it just still kind of quiet?
Well, the Raptors, that's the thing, right? So officially yesterday opened up, and Fred VanVleet is a smart man. I'm sure he's taking a look at the market right now, and he's seeing what people are going for, and he's probably seeing what players are turning down, and even what players are worth in terms of what is Chris Paul worth, or what is James Harden worth. So he's probably taking a look. He's obviously nowhere close to quite the same resume, but his situation is trying to get the best fit for him, not only money, but possession of the ball for the next 5 to 6 years of his contract, maybe 4. But like you said, there isn't much going on right now. You'd like to think that Toronto has it under control in the situation where they're talking to him and he's talking to them first before going to other teams.
Right.
But that's obviously a speculation. And like we always said, Kyle Lowry only has so much time left.
Yeah. I think Toronto, I think VanVleet will resign. I don't see a big deal with what's going on there. And it's going to be one of those situations that I think comes down to the wire. And at the end of the day, everybody's just going to sigh a breath of relief, and we'll all be good and wake up happy. Any other big NBA news?
So I was sleeping during that segment of Russell Westbrook because Jordan Brand and Michael Jordan trying to be the hinder reason to go to Charlotte was kind of outdated after something that came in 2 hours ago, even, that Russell Westbrook and John Wall would be linked in an even trade from Washington to Houston. This would put John Wall in a situation probably for a flip around. He won't stay in Houston, and it would put Harden in a position where it's an experienced team with only questionable dynamic chemistry and experience in the playoffs. It's just a matter of, I guess, maybe what either player is worth. Like maybe they're worth the same thing, and that's why people are saying that Russ for John Wall is a trade idea, but just because maybe their playing styles are the same averages,
right?
Doesn't mean that they're good fits in where they would go. Recently, before we signed on, the Atlanta Hawks have been making a lot of moves before the trade deadline in the offseason, trying to acquire well, they have acquired Clint Capella for Trae Young to make that team a little bit more dynamic, but it looks like they're getting close to signing a veteran, Gordon Hayward from the Boston Celtics. They're working on a trade right now, or it might be a free agent signing. Don't quote me on this, but I know that the Hawks have serious discussions with Boston and Gordon Hayward right now, and Gordon Hayward is someone that would bring complete relevancy to Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks.
Right.
And that's a little good news. And I think the last thing I'd head off of in the NBA is that today we are filming this on November 17th. We have mentioned that November 18th is the draft, the NBA draft, not the trade, nothing else. The draft. The draft is the 29th pick. LaMelo Ball has been quoted all day. He's been interviewed all day. He thinks he deserves number one. Is it the right fit? We don't know. Is it our team's going to go off skill? Our team's going to go off position? Are we going to find that out? Are we going to see trades? You know, it's a whole different NBA, and it's always been kind of leaning towards more of an entertainment league every other year.
Yeah.
And so maybe we'll get those ding, 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 ding. We have a trade to announce. And then maybe we have a little bit of going on of swapping picks in the top 10, which just completely trades. It can completely change a team's future. And that is why we love the draft. And this draft is more important because we have people who are ready to enter the NBA and make a difference. And I'm excited to see James Wiseman and LaMelo Ball get an opportunity, because not only are they drafted tomorrow, they start training camp in less than a month after that.
Right. So LaMelo Ball is probably going first overall to Minnesota. Minnesota kind of needs to have a thing for everything. And when you're not drafting by position, that means you're drafting by best overall player available, which in this draft, it looks like it's LaMelo Ball. And the Warriors are going to get a whole lot stronger here because they got the second overall pick. Like, I don't think I think this has kind of been a quiet story because that Warriors team, they're still a powerhouse. They're still one of
they're going to be completely you're not going to think that it was the same team that just had a complete embarrassment last year.
But that's because Curry was injured. All their guys were injured, and they just played.
They didn't even come back to the bubble. They didn't get the chance.
Right. So
Curry is back. Klay Thompson's healthy. Draymond Green has been learning how to shoot threes in the offseason again, which just means he's coming back to form.
Yeah.
So, you know, they have a second overall pick. Not only did they just get Andrew Wiggins, Canadian, back on the team for a little bit of experience depth, they can not only pick James Wiseman as a ready-to-go center, huge player, 7 feet tall, ready to dunk. They can use the second pick or him in a trade to acquire someone else who's going to just put them in second, top two with the Lakers. It's over. It's over. No one. People don't understand what Steph Curry is known for, and that he is so far done from his career. And when you don't have Steph Curry rolling, you pass it out to one of the best non-dribbler catch and shooters of all time named Klay Thompson. You're winning games.
Yeah.
You get someone who can get you the rebounds, it's over.
I think, they kind of took a year off. They just went to, they did 5 consecutive.
They're mature enough to do that. They're mature enough to do that.
And now they're coming back, and it's going to be, we won't have LeBron.
The NBA is going to be absolutely insane.
It's going to be great.
And the problem is we just don't have enough trophies and championships to give out. And
that's
what ruins legacies.
Why do you need more than one trophy? There's only one champion.
You don't. And so that's why I feel like this whole Tinder style of dating teams has been long come for, because it's win now or it's retire, really, for most of these guys.
Yeah, and
the right profile.
So I think it's going to be a busy next 13 days before all players have to be reported to their home training base, and it's going to be interesting. I think that wraps up our NBA segment.
Yeah, we didn't want to go on too long to the NBA because there's a lot of talk on, but you want to enter into I had my eyes completely raised on the first note regarding the NFL, so I might not even talk.
Fuck! It was. Oh, the Bills, man. They break my heart almost every week. 1 second away from that game, it was a 3-man coverage. And you throw I couldn't believe it. I was so upset. I stood up for Rick. I almost threw myself through a goddamn fucking table. And I just couldn't believe it. And they're still 7-3, and they're probably going to make the playoffs and be fine. But you needed that win. And Josh Allen had such a good game, and he threw a dime with 38 seconds left to take the lead. and your defense can't even cover one guy in the end zone with 1 second left. Where else is he going to go? Take the penalty, knock him down, stop the ball. No, you let him catch the ball with 1 second left, and your punt returner can't even catch the fucking thing and throw a lateral. So just piss that game away. Like, I was so mad, and I don't want. I don't know. Like,
so I wasn't even watching the game live. I had the TV on when I got home. However, I had you and your live experiences recorded and documented, and not only can I mention the dramatic nature of the game, I can.
Sorry, I just got a message from my girlfriend who's in the living room saying "calm yourself." So I think.
So that is the red of the meter that we go for.
Yeah.
When the second is she peeks her head in like last episode, and tonight is officially telling Josh to calm down. But that's just because the Buffalo Bills put our friend through so much tonight, and or not tonight, but the other night, especially if you're
it's been tonight too. Like, it's been
and if he had exactly, so I said tonight because he's clearly fumbling.
What the fuck? My phone just started playing the highlights of the game.
So it's clearly all over not only his head, but it's in his phone, and it's still going to linger amongst our own Josh Egan's his morals. It's just going to ruin what he chooses to do with the rest of his week until the Bills can get him another win.
Yeah, I hate Kyler Murray. I hate
Hopkins.
Fucking Cardinals. I just like
Jordan Brand about to go off in a crazy week.
I can't even acknowledge that it was probably the play of the year in the NFL, because that catch with 1 second left to win the game that's a phenomenal play. Just to throw the ball down the field and just have that trust in your receiver to get up there and grab it with 1 second left. Also, he had the Jumpman logo on his glove, and Nike has made like $5 billion off that image now.
Yeah, that is the craziest thing, because not only is the Jordan Brand, the gloves that he uses, the gloves that the other players that he's catching over is like Adidas and Nike. So You just see the Jordan Brand above the swoosh and the 3 stripes, and the internet went crazy because not only was it, Michael Jordan, people love Michael Jordan, but it was kind of the same image. You got Jordan reaching for the ball, and you got DeAndre Hopkins coming down with the hutch.
Yeah, and honestly, that might be the play of the year. And the second play of the year might be Josh Allen throwing that dime into the end zone with 38 left. And the final score.
Because I'm a biased Bills fan. But let's move on. How do you like? I forgot the name of the running back, but the Cleveland Browns running back was highlighted for running down the field, having an open touchdown, but being very aware of the better under and over and running out of bounds. What is your thought? Because you are aware of the pro line and what he was doing to the fan. Can you tell us why he did not score a touchdown?
Players need to be careful of this, because he could get himself in serious legal trouble for match fixing. Like, I don't know.
If you guys don't understand what happened, this guy had like a clear breakaway to the end zone to score, but someone in his earpiece or on the sideline before the play said, "Hey, if you get this touchdown, people who betted against us are going to get their money. But if you don't get this touchdown, then you're going to ruin the fact that they're going to make the spread." And so what this guy did is gets down to the end zone, remembers that people can make and lose money off of his decision, decides to lose them their money.
This man, to prove a point, and the Browns just aren't good. They won 10-7. What is fucking snooze fest?
Yeah.
And this guy is just like, you know what? We're -4 at the half, but we could take a 7-point lead here. But just to piss people off, I'm gonna run out at the 1 yard line. Like, do your job, score the touchdown.
Yeah, I really wonder what the huddle and the coaches was like.
Yeah, like they can't be happy with him, right? Because that can cost you the game. It was a 3-point game. I don't know what was going on.
That's why, you see the highlight, and because it's a highlight is because of that. But other than the Browns winning again by little points, we have the Bucs winning by big points. And the Buccaneers killed the Panthers, as you stated, 46-23 Tom Brady comes down with a little bit more of aggression this week than after getting completely blown out by Aaron Rodgers the prior.
Yeah, Tom Brady was locked in this game. He looked like he was back, ready to play, ready to make a push for the Super Bowl. 28 for 39, 341 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He put on a clinic against the Panthers defense, who stood absolutely no chance. He even rushed for 2 yards, which Tom Brady doesn't normally do, but whatever, he did it. And Antonio, I'm just looking it up. Antonio Brown he had 7 receptions with a 69-yard rushing attempt. So he's starting to see the ball a little bit more. And I think that's what the Buccaneers want out of him. If he'll be around in Tampa, we'll get to that a little bit later. I think we'll save that to the end of the NFL segment. If he'll be around in Tampa much longer is a question. But the Buccaneers, man, they keep rolling. I think they're a serious threat to make a push for the Super Bowl because they have so many weapons. But I just want to say that if they run into the Bills, the Bucs stand no chance because my guy Josh Allen is just going to light them up. So I'm just going to say that right now. And you can put that on the record because Bills Mafia, baby.
So that's it, right? Everything that we talk about will come down to the Bills.
Yes.
Speaking of favorite teams, the Giants always lose to Philly. That's what they say. The Giants beat them this weekend with one of the worst NFC East divisions known to man. Not only did the Giants beat the Eagles this weekend, someone was quoted on like ESPN for saying that Daniel Jones was the most elite quarterback in that division, with Carson Wentz and Alex Smith being people of other teams in that division. And you saw this, right? I sent you that real quickly.
Yeah.
But other than this, the Giants might make the playoffs.
I mean, they're 3-7, so they
divisional.
If they do, it would. I mean, that division's a fucking joke for the NFL. Like,
it's the worst.
It's embarrassing. They need to fix that shit. I don't even know how, but your guy Daniel Jones, 21 for 28, 244 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kind of a meh game, but they won. Like, Philadelphia didn't get much from their quarterback in Carson Wentz, who was 21 for 37, 208 yards, and 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So it was a running game. I don't know, like, do we take any of those games coming out of that division seriously? Like,
hey, until we get to the playoffs, probably not. Until the divisional team that makes it out of that playoffs either wins or gets embarrassed in that first wild card game, because the winner of this division is still going to the wild card game. Oh, wait.
Right. And so Philly, New York are top of that division with neither team has over a 390 win percentage, which is
brutal,
embarrassing. So, it is what it is in that division.
Fuck the Giants. They're going to do okay. I like giving them their time. Let's see if they do okay. This is the NSFW version of us this week. That's for sure. Speaking of being relevant, we were never speaking of being relevant. Speaking of not being able to communicate his ideas, Tua Tagovailoa is the opposite of me, and he is communicating his ideas through wins and
I'll give you that one, I guess.
I am a master manipulator of the English language in my own mouth and the way that I interpret and express my words. Sometimes I sound like an idiot, and sometimes means always. Dolphins and Tua is the note, and they keep rolling and not only staying relevant, but staying in the hunt for the playoff position.
Damn right.
Clip it.
Tua's looking good, man.
I think the highlight of this show is how I turn in things into a next story.
Yeah.
But
you turn something into nothing, and it's kind of beautiful to watch because you'll start here and you'll move all the way over here, and I'll be sitting there like, you know what?
Oh, I totally get it.
That's not the route I would have taken, but it worked. and
that's why we do this.
Yeah. But so the Dolphins, I think they're either 3-0. I think they're 3-0 with Tua as their quarterback. So they clearly made the right decision. It's 3 or 4. They clearly made the right decision.
6-3 on the season.
Yeah, they're 6-3 on the season. They've won their last 5. And they're rolling, man. Like, they look solid. 2-0 was, I'm just going to check it here because I don't remember it off the top of my head. They were.
No, we're checking that. I'll just mention that, we were talking not only on, we weren't talking on air, rather. We were talking over person, Josh and I were talking about. Analysis has said that Tua has kind of brought relevancy to the Dolphins since, what's that?
I said, yeah.
Yeah. What's the name of the quarterback that brought the relevancy to the Dolphins?
I don't know. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Marino, Dan Marino.
Yeah.
They said, analysis were talking about how Tua is Dan Marino in the sense of the relevancy that he's brought to the fans of Miami. And so the Dolphins have something to cheer about with the ugly ass colors,
I like their jerseys.
A little bit questionable. The Dolphins win.
Anyway, 2-0 was 15 for 25, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. Didn't need a lot of yardage to get his work done. They beat the Chargers 29-21. The Chargers brutal.
Justin Herbert.
2-7.
Shout out. I like him.
Not very good. Nope. Justin Herbert, 20 for 32, 187, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not good enough. Chargers don't get it done. I don't know why I'm so heated about the Chargers.
Did the Saints win and get Breeze hurt, or did they lose and lose Breeze?
No, the Saints won and Breeze was hurt.
Oh yeah, he got ruined in the ribs. I heard. Do you know what happened?
Destroyed. Yeah, I do. He broke his ribs. That's what happened. They beat the 49ers 27-13. Drew Brees, after the game, it broke, and this might be the end for the Saints. Because Drew Brees has been locked down for them. He has looked good. He has been locked in. He was 18 for 13 in this game before getting hit, and he has broken ribs on both sides and a collapsed lung on his left side. Now, when they released this, they said a 2 to 3 week recovery, and I instantly went, bullshit, you got a collapsed lung. Like, maybe 2 to 3 weeks for broken ribs. A collapsed lung, you're looking at maybe wait till the playoffs because the Saints are 7-2.
This is a brutal kind of news.
Yeah, they're probably still going to make it because I think they're leading that division by quite a bit. They still won that game 27 for 13. And you do have to remember, James Winston is their backup QB. And while he is a decent enough quarterback, you might not be able to do a throwing game with him. It's going to be a running game. So their top receivers and their rushing, you're going to have Levante Murray, Tyson Hill, Drew. They're all going to have to, fill in with the absence of Drew Brees. So,
speaking of football, the New England Patriots are one of my emerging teams to watch just because of Cam Newton. And one of our notes is that they're just good with a question mark. They beat the Ravens. I think this had helped to do with the weather, I heard.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I don't
know if I sent you the memes. There was a crazy storm that went down, and it was as soon as the Ravens went on their last offensive drive, Bill Belichick was kind of pictured in this witch. He was almost like people on the internet called him a witch because it's almost like you saw him put his hoodie on, and then Lamar took the ball, and then all hell broke loose from the sky, and there was wind, hail, rain, and this helped the Pats hold off Lamar come down the field. The Patriots get a win. People are calling it a witchcraft win, but this puts the question mark beside the Patriots. Are they good?
I don't think the question should be, are the Patriots good? I think the question should be, do you ever doubt Bill Belichick?
Right.
And the answer to that is no.
Right.
Never doubt old Billy Belichick. And on a side note, the media in New England, they're getting their licks on him now. Because he has never been good with the media there. He would always say,
he was just giving them. Not only they're not giving him the licks, I think he's giving them the licks. He's just talking.
No. He in the past seasons, he's been like, we're just moving on to Cincinnati, or we're moving on to the.
That's what I mean. Why is he talking though? Why is he talking? Why is he choosing to talk now? Because he has a bad record?
Because he has to.
Because he has a bad record.
Right. And
yeah, but That's him. That's not the media talking. I think that's just him having to think that he has to protect his image.
Yeah, but now the media can go after him because he's got to say more. Like if you have a
because they realize that he's actually. Oh wait, Bill's talking. What are we going to ask him now?
Well, you got a 13-2 team in week 16 and they lose one. What are you going to tell the guy? Like they've won 13 games, but now you know what are the Pats 4-5?
They're like just below 500 by one game.
Yeah, he's got to answer questions now. Like he can't just say, "Oh, we're moving on to Jacksonville."
And that's what sparked, and that's what sparked those comments about, "Oh, we had a cheap quarterback and we have an expensive team." So you might see more of those bombshell quotes from someone who has never expressed himself to the media, like Bill Belichick.
Right, and it's interesting to see because, you know, he used to not say a lot. Now he's saying quite a bit because he has to.
I guess we were gonna mention that we were gonna talk on this later in the podcast, but you know it's NFL news and it is related to the Patriots just because of Tom Brady was a Patriot and so was once Antonio Brown. But we were just talking about Antonio Brown right now. Say that again.
He was a Pat for one game.
One game, but you know he signed the paper, and that's what made him a Patriot. That he put on the jersey, put on the helmet, just like Tom Brady. But we're not talking about the Patriots. We're talking about Antonio Brown, who's also a member of Tom Brady's team in Tampa. But I think it was a couple weeks ago, Antonio Brown was destroying surveillance footage of whatever it was that he was doing. Apparently, that he needed to destroy, and so this is obviously coming in way later than it should have. Way later than it should have, and it just goes to show this special treatment that he's gotten because of a little bit of a football skill. It's kind of sad to see because no matter how much you think he's doing to improve, you hear this bullshit in the news.
Someone's after this guy, right? Like this.
That's
happened,
true.
Like this happened 3-4
He's
months
also
ago.
not smart.
And honestly, like he shouldn't have done it, but it doesn't sound that bad. It sounds like he broke a camera, and we've all had those, like, I'll be honest here, like, and I'm sure you can relate to this. We've all had those walk homes from the bar where you've done something you shouldn't have done. And
we have?
Well, I have. And one of mine was we were walking home and my buddy knocked over every single pylon from the construction site into the road. And like, you just do stupid shit on the way home. And
pylon.
We all knocked over that guy, Nick Kyprios, and
couple pylons.
So, yeah, let's get Dion Phaneuf in here. I'm sure he's here somewhere. Anyway, but yeah, like you do stupid shit, and I think if this was an isolated incident, people would be like, yeah, whatever. But it's just starting to pile on top of all the other things that have been going on, and now it's like, Antonio, my guy, what are you doing?
What are you doing? We gave you this chance.
Yeah, and
you idiot.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's more context into the story than he just decided to just go full Stone Cold Steve Austin on a video. Yeah, but I don't know, like
just a stunner.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the footage. I mean,
yeah, he probably took the bat with the barbed wire wrapped around it to the.
On a side note, though, if he gets in trouble for this, and old Robert Kraft over in New England doesn't get in trouble for the video camera footage he got in trouble with at a massage parlor a couple years ago that he got off scot-free, then I am calling bullshit because that guy was caught on camera at an old rub and tug. And
let me tell you. Let me finish off. When you're done, let me tell you. Let me know.
I'm done with Robert Kraft.
Robert Kraft, I got a couple words. I got a lyric to tell you. This is my favorite artist, 21 Savage. I'm like Robert Kraft because I love my cheddar.
That's so dumb.
And that's why he gets probably away with what he does.
Why did I think you were going to bring up the line from Rockstar? It was like, Savage, why you got a 12-car garage when you only got 6 cars?
21 Savage, you're just a relevant current fan. I just love what he has to say. He's monotone in his descriptors, and he's monotone in the fact that he said, call me Robert Kraft because I love my cheddar. Right. And sometimes that cheddar will get you by, but that's not the way that it's supposed to be.
So moving on from Robert Kraft and rub and tugs, I got a question for you. I give you 2 options. You have option A, a quarterback who is decent on Monday Night Football games, and option B, a quarterback who is 0-9 in Monday Night Football games. Which one would you take?
Yep.
You take the decent quarterback. Well,
the books I've studied say 2 + 2 does equal 4. I would take the quarterback without the 0-9 record.
Well, Kirk Cousins broke his Monday Night Football record the other night with a victory. He has now got his first career win in Monday Night Football with a victory last night. Let's give a round of applause to Kirk Cousins, who is now 1-9 in Monday Night Football.
Hall of Fame effort.
What a streak. Like, I saw this stat. I was like, that's unreal, man. Like, the Vikings beat the Bears 19-13. I think Vegas lost a lot of money last night.
I'll tell you what, it's sad that we have to care about them losing money, but they're invested in the sports industry, and pretty historic, embarrassing Monday Night Football game probably took place last night, and it only improved an embarrassing Monday Night Football record of someone's quarterback.
No, you know what? I'm going to go against you there. I wouldn't say that it's an embarrassing game because it
wasn't an embarrassing game.
No,
I guess.
But like, look at it from this. What do you want from sports? You want to be. I ask for two things from sports, and I'll get to relate this to somebody else later. You want to be entertained, and you want it to tell a story. This game entertained. It was a 6-point game, and it told a story. Kirk Cousins now has a win Monday Night Football. That's why I think I like wrestling so much, because it entertains and it tells a story. If a sports game, if you just have people running off wins every week and you're not going to watch that. Who's going to watch a game? Like, if you're watching a hockey team and they win 7-0 every week, that's not fun. You want to see 3-2, 7-6, 8-7,
2-1.
2-1, a backup goalie who's a Zamboni driver come in and win a game. You want to see stories. So this game told a story. Monday Night Football this week told a story, and it was entertaining. Tell your story.
We're giving a round of applause to the quarterback there. Let's give a round of applause to the NFL. The first, I think it was on the Monday Night Football game, the first all-black officiating crew.
Thank you very much. Also,
that's all we're looking for. We're looking for that.
We're looking for that. Let's link it together because we're going to talk about it later. But the Florida Panthers also have hired the first ever black assistant general manager. His name is Brett Peterson, and he is officially the first ever black assistant general manager in the NHL. So we're going to tie those two together because they are both equally awesome. And this is something we want to see keep going. We got women GMs. We got minority GMs. This is something that's growing, and it's awesome. We got referees. It's great. Let's grow it. Keep going. I love it. I love to see this.
The relevancy. Keep us on TV. Keep us on TV. Keep the people on TV. Keep the people that need to be seen.
I don't think anybody's putting us on TV this week, but
and we're not the people that need to be seen. I know retract the word us. Don't put us on TV. Put us expressing why we need them and everyone else who's more important than us.
However, if you do want us on TV, just hit me up at orionhockey@gmail.com. Anyway, let's move into the Masters because we do have a new Masters champion. What a transition. Dustin Johnson wins the Masters November edition at 20 under, the first player to do so. What do you think of that? That's a
so not only, did he win the Masters, he won the Masters by historic fashion. And this historic fashion is 20 under, and the previous was held by Jordan Spieth and Tiger Woods at 18 under.
Yep.
You feel bad because Tiger Woods has been looked over as the Masters he still will be the Masters historian, but the record that is now held by Dustin Johnson is not only a record for the course, but it was a record year because not only did it take place in November, it was in quarantine with no fans and coronavirus, and we have another Masters in less than 6 months.
Love the Masters. Also, I just want to say me and my dad each won $150 each. Now, I am going to shout out my dad because I gave him, we chose five golfers each. He took Dustin Johnson and Justin Thomas, I think. And I took Brooks Koepka, who just fucking shit the bed. I took, who was my second golfer? I took John Rahm, and then my dad also took Matt Wolff. So he had 3 pretty solid picks. I did not do so well, but we decided before the bet that we were going to split the winnings. And my dad, thank you very much, won me $150. So shout out Shane Egan. Also, shout out your mother, who I was supposed to shout out at the beginning of the episode, who comments on every single post, says she likes everything, commented on our YouTube, likes every YouTube show, literally everything we post. She's like, great job, guys. Keep up the work. And I want to call out, I'm looking at the camera. I'm calling out my mother. You have not said one nice thing about this podcast. All you do is send me the grammatical mistakes, which I guess is good that you correct me. But Mom, if you could just say, good job, son, once in a while, that would be nice. Anyway,
thank you.
Dustin Johnson wins the Masters.
You'll hear that.
But I think the biggest story coming out of this was Tiger shooting 10 on hole 12.
Unfortunately, Dustin Johnson won the thing by historic fashion, but we did see Tiger Woods shoot a historic number on a hole. Just shows the realistics of golf, the realistic reality of golf, rather. No matter how good you are, who you are, where you've been, a lie is a lie. A tough lie is a tough lie. And you can get 10s how, no matter who you are.
Now, I've seen you golf, and so I have a pretty good idea of this answer. What would you shoot on that hole?
What is this, a par 3?
Yeah. I think it was 220.
Probably a 10. But
No,
if
but
I'm being honest,
you could get it over the water, man.
okay. I just didn't want to mention the fact that I didn't know how Tiger Woods approached the hole. I've once had the distance to, yes, clear that idea.
Yeah.
I can hit that green in a par 3. I'm looking for a high draw coming off the left-hand side down to the right. It's my hard swing, and that's what I commit to. I'm not saying that it's going on the green by any means, and I'm not saying that my lie is perfect when it's there. Tiger Woods, I'm pretty sure I saw the highlights. He was coming out of a tough stance in the bunker that just went skipping across into the pond. Not, the tee shot's half the battle, but the lie you get after the tee shot's the real battle. I would be, let alone the fact that I'm hitting on that golf course or that hole, I would be amazed that I was on the grounds of Augusta National. So I would just hope that I had a golf club in my hand at that point.
Right. And so unfortunately, Tiger shot a 10 on that hole, but he did finish 5 of the last 6 holes with birdies, which is quite impressive, actually, because that back 9 on the Masters is not a walk in the park. We did have some Canadian content at the Masters, and we had some Canadians playing. We had Mike Weir, who tied 51st with 2 over. Not bad. But of note, Nick Taylor finished at 3 under and tied for 10th, and qualifying him for next year's Masters, Corey Connors at 9 under. So the Canadians came out to play this year, man. Like, they did really well.
Let's go, Canadians. I'm upset. I'm not upset at that, but I'm upset that I didn't know that Mackenzie Hughes wasn't participating. He's my favorite Canadian golfer.
No, I see the mix up, like, because he's qualified for the next Masters. So I'm just saying, hey, you thought this Masters was the next one. I did the same thing.
And it's good news that I get to see him soon in the next Masters, for sure. As much as I'm tied to Canadian golf and the Canadian scores at high events, Wayne Gretzky's a Canadian, and he's the best hockey player that's ever played. Dustin Johnson is absolutely having his day with his daughter, so I'm not worried.
Oh my God.
Come on, I don't even know. I mean,
okay, moving on from that. That means we that means we have next year at the Masters.
Oh no, I think something came out of my nose.
We'll have Mike Weir, Kyle Connor, and Mackenzie Hughes representing Canada at the Masters.
Pull it together. All right.
Get your damn act together.
Jesus.
Anyway, just to finish up.
He was a hockey player. Wayne Gretzky, I know you're a hockey player, and I know I'm not talking to you either, but you're a hockey player. Dustin Johnson.
Just to finish up the
you just had to expect it. Like, even if
Sorry, that caught me off guard that you said that. Anyway, just to finish it up, did you see the caddy for answers just
Dude,
blowing?
what is this? I had no idea that this was happening.
And TSN caught it, and then they kind of ran with the rest of the day. This caddy for answers was just blowing darts all over
Well, I know
Augusta.
CJ just absolutely hogs the dipping in his mouth, but I didn't know darts were just like that.
I didn't know darts were allowed on Augusta, man.
I didn't know cigarettes were allowed on the PGA golf course.
Neither did I.
Anyway.
Well, no, that's not true actually, because John Daly, man.
Oh, John Daly absolutely just destroyed those.
He,
Yes.
you know, this guy's whipping cigars and driving a golf cart down the
Augusta though, and you're not even playing, and you're the caddy. That's a whole different look.
I just thought it was really funny. And you know where he's from? You know
Probably.
that Canadian. He's a Canadian caddy from Canada.
Oh, changes my opinion on him. What a fucking beauty.
Yeah, I bet he's railing Wayne Gretzky's daughter. Anyway, Wayne
Oh,
Gretzky.
anything about railing. Let's just mention.
Transition. Let's go into the NHL. The retro jerseys are out. Everybody has seen the retro jerseys. Now.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I don't want yet. We're going to do this very strategically. What are your overall thoughts on all 31 NHL retro jerseys? So if I showed you 31 pictures and you had to say, those are okay, those are good, I don't like these, what would you say to all 31 retro jerseys as a whole, as a collective? Did Adidas do a good job of these?
9 out of 10.
I would agree.
9 out of 10.
I would agree.
9 out of 10. I stood up to show my opinion on the Leafs jersey, the silver lining on this, and the TML. That's what I was looking for. They kind of got that old school Sittler style jersey that kind of looks different, but not something that I remember the Leafs aesthetic for. It was okay, but I'm excited to see it. I'm so excited to see so many more. Tampa Bay has a great one. I am a Buffalo diehard fan for their colors when they were in red and black. Right. They're bringing back the red and black style logo with the yellow and blue coloring, which completely throws off my perception of how I see it. And I'm looking for a red and black version of what they're selling soon on eBay. But I just don't like the yellow and blue version. But it doesn't mean that the design really is my favorite. I think that the Avalanche are going like a Rockies design or a
Nordiques.
They're going the Nordique design. It's just
unreal.
People, the Habs are doing that like third jersey that the Hamilton Bulldogs did in the AHL at Cops Coliseum the other time.
I got a lot of heat for this because I told a lot of people that I work with and like a lot of the kids I coach said, I really like the Habs jersey. And they said, how do you like the Habs jersey? You're a Leafs fan. I said, am I not allowed to appreciate a good jersey? Like they went like a almost like a warm blue with the red across. I thought it looked really good.
I love that color scheme.
Now my favorite one. My favorite one. The Anaheim Ducks knocked this out of the park. I'm gonna put it in the video over my face right now. The Anaheim Ducks jersey for retro. Unreal. Well done, Anaheim. I'd also like to give a shout out, and they don't get one of these very often from me, to the Phoenix Coyotes.
Oh,
the Coyotes jersey is beautiful. Also, nice. LA, Buffalo, and Colorado. Well done. Those are my 5.
I will say the Detroit Red Wings got absolutely bullshitted with the most basic practice jersey I've ever seen.
No. The Islanders did, because it's exactly the fucking same.
The Vegas Golden Knights are coming in with the red.
So okay, so I think I can change your mind on the Vegas Golden Knights jersey. So
I don't need it to be changed.
No,
but
okay. So they're called retro jerseys. So you're probably thinking, okay, how can Vegas have a retro team when they're only three years old? Now, when I was 10, my family, we lived in California. So my aunt and uncle would used to travel to Las Vegas a lot. So we met them down there. And they would go, oh, what can we do with the kids to have fun? And they go, well, the kids like hockey. So we would go to a Las Vegas, I think it was Raiders, Vegas. I'll have to look it up. But those were the jerseys they wore, and that was their logo. And they were an IHF team, International Hockey Federation. And that is a throwback to the jersey that Vegas are now wearing, because the Golden Knights are not the first hockey team to play in Vegas.
Let it be known.
With the facts. Shout out Wayne Gretzky.
I'm just trying to find Jesus. The Capitals jersey is very nice. I like that eagle.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh thing, I got that Yarmer Yager on it. Just that vibe is great.
Yeah.
The Whalers are coming back.
Yeah. I thought the jerseys were very well done.
I hate the fact that the New Jersey Devils keep going back to this boring Christmas style of green when they could do that like with that Bronco horse with the blue and orange and red back in the day.
Yeah.
That stuff hits hard on NHL throwback jerseys on the gaming system. But these green ones are just absolutely give me my Christmas sweater and let me spit on it.
Right.
And don't like it.
So I think I saw this like phenomenal.
The Islanders are just trying to get Tavares back.
No, what that is, that's Lou Lamoriello saying, nah, we ain't doing this.
Lou Lam didn't do anything to make your team better.
Right. Now, I just want to address something. I don't know what this phenomenon was that I saw when these jerseys were released, but hockey Twitter had a collective shit about how the jerseys were either good or bad. Why could we not just let people like something and not like something? I saw the Leafs jersey release. I thought personally, I said, that's not bad. I might not buy it. I might get one. I saw some guys say it was disgusting and that it made him throw up. That's a little intense.
So it's just a jersey. I get people's harsh opinions on it when like people think they could have been a better designer.
Okay, so why aren't you there designing the journey? Well, the answer is you weren't good enough. Move on with your life.
Right. Your idea isn't valid.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, everyone's idea isn't the best idea. Speaking of ideas, what is this survey?
Oh man. All right. So speaking of Twitter, I saw this on Twitter and Brian Hayes brought it up on Overdrive. Shout out my favorite radio show, Overdrive, 10:50, 4 to 7 p.m. every day on TSN. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, Saturday. No, it's not on Saturday, just weekdays. Anyway, they brought this to my attention, so I looked into it because I subscribe to The Athletic. Craig Custance randomly interviewed and anonymously interviewed scouts in the in the NHL, and then posted it to Twitter. And one of the questions he asked them was, which superstar do you think will be the next to be shipped out? And number one was Eichel, which I think we can all understand. Like, if it doesn't work out in Buffalo this year, I think he's the next one to go. I don't think it will be this season, but I think if you're looking into next season and by the season after next season's trade deadline, you're probably looking at Eichel being moved. Patrick Laine, I would have had Laine higher than Eichel because I think Laine is probably gone before the 2021 trade deadline. And then number 3 and 4. Number 3 was Mitch Marner, which I can understand because Mitch Marner's overpaid. Mitch Marner had an ugly contract negotiation, and that contract negotiation was not Mitch Marner's fault. It was his agents who ruined it for him. And the fans have kind of turned sour on Marner. I personally, Marner's a good player. I just think his contract is higher than what he's worth. And when I watch him play, I think he tries to be too flashy and tries to do too much. And I think that's going to reflect on him as he gets deeper in his career and the league figures it out. So he was the third answer on this. And number 4 was William Nylander. And I could not wrap my head around this one. I do not understand the people that do not like William Nylander, man. Like, this guy, and I don't care what you have to say. You can come at me. You can DM me. You can at me on Twitter. William Nylander is a 30-goal, 30-assist player. 60 points, $7 million. How is that a bad contract? They also say, he only scores from the perimeter. Nah, fuck off. 93% of his goals, maybe not 93, but a high percentage of his goals are from within the diamond, right? And if you're a moron, Okay, that's aggressive. If you don't know what the diamond is if you make a straight line from the middle of the crease to the two face-off dots, and then
High
to
board.
the mid and to the high boards, and then in between the two
Blue
dots
line.
at the top of the face-off. Right. That's where he scores his goals from outside of, right? Like
That's the general
not
sweet spot.
outside of, from inside. And William Nylander is worth his contract. So I just didn't understand how they thought he would be the one shipped out. But then I thought about it, and to get a player of his value for $7 million, you could get quite a lot for that. So, you know, I saw it both ways. I just thought it was an interesting survey.
News, for sure. Lots
Yeah,
of news going
and-
on in the NHL when there's nothing going on. You were going
Right.
to say something about the Scouts?
Yeah, so there's a couple teams in the States playing, university teams and college teams. I know Michigan,
Yeah, this is true.
Michigan and
surprising
Michigan
to
State
see.
are staying. A lot of colleges are closing, and we have a big story about RPI. We had Emma Hicks on, who plays at RPI for their women's team. Somebody from their men's team released a statement about their season being canceled, so we're going to get to that at the end of this here. But scouts will not be allowed into college games until the beginning of 2021. This is probably just because based off fairness and travel, like obviously Canadian scouts can't get to Michigan games right now, just due to quarantine. And that's just something the NHL has to do to make it fair. And I saw an argument, I thought this was interesting. The NHL and the Hall of Fame have an interesting relationship. And you have GMs inducted, you have players inducted, you have coaches inducted, you have quite a few roles inducted. But a scout has never been inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I don't know. Like, I have to think about this quite a bit, because the scout doesn't make the player, but the scout finds the players. So the question that was being asked, and I just thought it would be fun to bring up to get your thoughts on it. Do you think scouts should be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Tony Romo is just caught saying some suspect stuff, man.
What did he say?
Great cutbacks right there. You see the juicy as.
What?
Great cutbacks right there. You see the juicy as.
What? Tony Romo staying suspects. You know, quarterbacks stay kissing their children just like Tom Brady.
So no, we don't think scouts should be in the NHL Hall of Fame.
NHL scouts have done diddly do in the record books other than watch someone else play. I've watched someone play, but I didn't make the plays happen.
I think we would both want to be scouts. That'd be a fucking sick job.
Oh, that's my dream, but I wouldn't be waiting to be accepted to the Hall of Fame. That's for sure. I get it.
I'd accept the invite.
I'd just be happy that I get let into the doors with admission, $20.
Yeah. So we already addressed this, but I just think I want to shout it out again because it is a big story. The Panthers did hire Brett Peterson as the first Black NHL assistant GM. So shout out to him. Good hire for them. The Panthers are moving towards a more analytical approach to their game, but they also said that 7 years ago, and let's see how well it worked out for them in the last 7 years. So hopefully this new head office can do better than that. Anyway, moving on. The Oilers, the Edmonton Oilers, they have Connor McDavid. They have Leon Draisaitl. They have Darnell Nurse, Evan Bouchard. They have quite a few notable players. They're a pretty good team. Probably make a lot of money. They are being sued by a hotel in Dallas for a check that has bounced.
Oh no, what's this?
The check is for $27,000 and also another night for $36,000 because both checks bounced and they still owe this balance. This was due back in March. So this must have been just before the lockdown and the quarantine. The Edmonton Oilers, are they broke? Probably not. It was probably an accounting error, but I just thought it was funny, and I will always dunk on another Canadian team because go Leafs go, the Leafs are the best. I'm sure they'll get it resolved. Like they're just gonna go to court and just say, okay, yeah, sorry, here's your money. Like the Oilers can afford a $36,000 hotel night stay. They do that on a weekly basis. I don't think there's any story here whatsoever. If it was the Senators, I'd be all over this, but it's the Oilers. So no big deal there.
Speaking of big deals, though, we did have a great guest on our show a couple of weeks back named Emma
We
Hicks.
did.
Came on our show and she was from RPI and the women's hockey program. She's a great guest. She has great honor towards us. Let's just say that. And there's a story from her school.
Yeah, I'm just going to pull up the full tweet here because I think it deserves justice. The tweet was made by a guy on the men's hockey team called Billy Jerry. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read bits and pieces from you. And pretty much what is going on in, I think it's ECOC and the men's, whatever the men's division is over there. RPI is the 9th school in the States, or the 9th college in that division to cancel their hockey season. So they will not be playing. They will not be practicing. And
is your mom named Tina?
Yeah, why?
Oh, she just liked every single post that we've ever created on Instagram. She must have been listening.
But this is recorded. Bruh.
Is she in your house?
I bet you my girlfriend messaged her. I bet you $100 fucking I've been ratting on.
You need to like the stuff. Josh is talking about you. Hey, there will be the support.
There will be the force support. There will be a follow-up to this, Tina.
Next episode, Tina.
Taking $10 off your Christmas present. Anyway.
Mrs. Egan to me.
I'm just going to read you the first paragraph. This
RPI quote. This is what we're talking about.
This guy got in trouble for this. Yesterday, we were informed that our hockey season has been canceled. We would like to start off by thanking the members of the testing tent, including coaches, trainers, faculty, and staff, for the countless hours they have put in to keep us safe. We understand the severity of the pandemic, and we have followed every rule that RPI has put in place to minimize the risks of spreading the virus. All students have been tested twice weekly, but despite our compliance, the school has denied us the chance to practice or play and has not worked with us directly to make it possible. With minimal cases on campus, we believe that RPI is the safest place for us to develop as athletes. We have strictly followed RPI's rules of gathering in groups of less than 10 people, and we have 0 positive cases on our team. Overall, we have diligently aided in preventing the spread of COVID-19 in our community. He later goes on to just express what it's like to be an athlete that directly went to that school to play for that team and to use the resources they have. And now they're just there they're not there as a student athlete, they're as a student, and they don't get to play the sport they love and use the resources they have. I just thought it was very interesting that they put this out. And I heard from Emma that there was a little bit of backlash from this. And I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. They had a team meeting where it was brought up, and they were told not to do something like this. No, if you think something, you say it. Right?
Yeah. Especially if it has to do with your safety.
Good on him for putting that out and expressing no. And he pretty much said in this incident, no, I will put out a statement. I'm going to follow the rules. If our season's done, our season's done. But I'm unhappy about it. Good on him. And I am sure he is not the only athlete that thinks this.
I agree.
Right? I just thought it was an interesting quote. And I'm going to reach out to this guy. I want to interview him.
Yeah.
I want to talk to him. I think
it's great.
We are going to wrap up with a sport I don't think we've actually touched on, and that's F1 racing. And I'm just going to bring it up because I used to, and I still do, watch this sport with my dad all the time. F1 racing, it's cars that go fast. And Lewis Hamilton is a 7-time world champion. He won a race on the weekend, and that secured him in the pole standings to be the world champion for the 7th time in his career. He tied the highest amount ever achieved. So he has 94 race wins, 96 pole positions, and 163 podium finishes in his career. That is phenomenal for an F1 racer. Congratulations to him. We're not going to talk about it too much. I just want to congratulate him and shout him out because that is one of the most phenomenal achievements that you can achieve in F1 racing. So well done, Lewis. Good job. You did Britain proud. Good on you.
Yes, for sure. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. I got to mention some important names here.
Okay, well, I'm just going to blabble here and fill time while you do that and just talk about how the hockey sticks behind me are old. Yeah.
That is a very good point.
I'm going to give actually a lot of people probably wondering why Nick Kyprios is here.
Here we go. Okay, I got my names whenever you're done.
You'll find out at a later time why Nick Kyprios is here. Brandon's going to tell us what he had to talk about.
Yeah, early in the episode, we were mentioning the first all-black officiating crew that worked in the NFL, and I stumbled upon my words when we were trying to move on to points. I said that the people that deserve to be on TV was us, and that was not what I was meant to say. I meant to say that the only thing that deserves to be on TV of us is us telling people what to put on TV of other people who have done things well. And then I said them, and the them that I was talking about is this black officiating crew. I want to mention their names because of the amazing job that they've brought to the awareness of the inclusiveness of the NFL and why we need more of this. And their names are referee Jerome Bodger. I hope I don't butcher their names. Leading the crew, joined by Barry Anderson, down judge Julian Mopp, line judge Carl Johnson, side judge Dale Jaw, field judge Anthony Jeffries, and back judge Greg Steed. I wanted to mention all their names because I just referred to the topic as them earlier, and that is appropriately to name their names. That's what they deserve. They deserve to be talked about, and that's why we're here to mention the fact that the first all-black officiating crew is what we're looking for, and all inclusivity. Wow, titties. Inclusivity of NFL football and black officiating crews coming to surface is because that's what we need. And that's how America is going to come back. America comes back because football is their pastime, and they will see this if this is what's broadcasted.
Right. And it's really good to see that. And I'm very happy that this is happening. We always want to be, and I think we've preached this from day one. We want sports to be known worldwide. We want as many people involved in sports as we can. Women,
ethnicities,
right? Ethnicities, minorities. If you're a transgender, if you identify as somebody else, I want you involved in sports. Because at the end of the day, a hockey puck is a hockey puck. A soccer ball is a soccer ball. A goal is a goal. I just want to talk sports with you. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what you identify as. And I will respect that and listen to why you are about that.
It took too long. It took way too long for this first officiating crew that was all black to be announced. This should have been done way before. This story is all this story is a big deal now, but it shouldn't be a big deal now. We should always been aware of this way long ago than it is now.
Right. And
that's what the problem is that we're coming to terms with a lot of stuff now that should have been realized a long time ago.
Yeah, and that's the fact. And at the end of the day, we just want to, especially on this podcast, if you don't feel safe in an area that you're in, you can come to us because we are accepting. We'll talk to you. We'll have you on. You could be part of the show. We want to just talk sports with you at the end of the day. I'm pretty sure we talked about badminton at one point, and we will talk any sport. So
we just talked about racing for the first time today.
We talked about racing for the first time. I would love to talk to somebody about curling because that's a sport I want to get more into. So at the end of the day, we are a safe space for everybody. So we will always talk about stories that are expanding the sports world. And there are a lot of podcasts and podcast areas that are not as accepting as we could be. I'm not going to identify them individually because they are known to go after kind of smaller podcasters and get their followers to go after them. So I'm just going to leave that alone. But I think you know who I'm talking about. So we're just going to leave that. But yeah, we are growing. We're happy with how we're doing. We love to come on here every week. I think Brandon and I were excited about this episode from fucking last Saturday. Like we were talking about, we're so ready. We got a lot to talk about. There's so much news. And we recorded our last episode on Friday. And we've been pumped about this since probably I hung up the mic last night. Like I love recording this podcast. It's my safe space. I'm constantly...
I don't want to feel like we have to trip over our words. If we make an error, I like to go back over it live. We like to do one take and come in here and not have to worry about editing as a problem, but just talking. If we make mistakes, we're gonna hopefully make awareness of them throughout the episode and come back on them. And if you watch the whole thing, then that's when you'll realize that we are not dumb.
Right. We have some breaking news. Do you want to get to that?
This is your turn. What is the breaking news?
The NBA announces structure and formatting for the 2020-2021 season. I'm just looking at it for the first time. The schedule will be released in two halves, what the league is calling the first half and the second half. The schedule for the first half of the season will run from December 22nd to March 4th and will be released on December 1st. The league will not release the second half of the schedule until later in the first half. That will include the rest of the 72-game schedule. So to reiterate, you will not be getting the team's full schedule at the beginning of the season, just the first half. The All-Star break will take place from March 5th to 10th between the two halves of the season. There will be no All-Star game. The second half of the season will run from March 11th to May 16th, and the play-in tournament, which they are bringing back, will run from May 18th to the 21st before the playoffs tip off on May 20th. Each NBA team will play the teams within their conference 3 times for a total of 42 games, while playing the opposing conference twice each for 30 games, which will equal the 72 games that have been reported. Each division within a conference will then play all 5 teams for another Okay, yeah, that's confusing. The 7-8 game will be between the 7th and 8th teams, while the 9-10 game will be between teams 9 and 10. The winner of the 7-8 game moves on and will host the winner of the 9-10 game that has been previously reported. Okay, that's all right. I think, yeah, I know. The thing that's most reported, the NBA Finals are set to run through July 22nd, with the Summer Olympics set to begin on July 23rd. And the qualifying tournaments for the remaining 4 spots in the men's field scheduled to run June 29th to July 4th. That almost certainly eliminates most players from considering going to Tokyo for a postponed 2020 Summer Olympics. So it looks like NBA players will not be going to the Summer Olympics.
We could be here forever talking about if that's going to be important to America's legacy or not. Who cares if it's something that they, strive to win for. If they think that they have the greatest country in basketball, then they should bring a competitive team no matter who's available.
I think that's perfect to end at. That is the first time we've had breaking news on the podcast. Make sure you follow us at Orion Sportscast on Instagram and Twitter, at Coach_Josh16 on Twitter, at Brandon Waterhouse. What's the numbers that follow it? 44
on Twitter is
44,
but I don't care about those Twitter numbers. Just follow me at _Waterhouse
on Instagram and follow us. Just, you know what? We don't even want the personal follows. Follow the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube, like on YouTube, comment on YouTube, DM us. We have booked a guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm not going to tell you what he plays. I'm not going to tell you where he's from, but I will tell you he is a professional athlete who plays in the top level of his sport, and we will have him on within the next week. So stay tuned for that. Don't sleep on us. We will see you later. And in the wise words of Vince Carter, this podcast,
it's
over.